left-wing Kingz. Listen, think, act, repeat. On July 15th, 2024, during the Republican National Convention, former President Donald J. Trump, who we all know and love, announced that JD Vance would be his running mate for the 2024 general election. Now, unfortunately, JD Vance has flip-flopped more times than a pancake. So it's hard to know what the hell this guy stands for. So we're going to help you guys by breaking down the top 5 things that you guys need to know about JD Vance. So number one, what you need to know, one of the first reason that JD Vance, that we should fear JD Vance is his lack of experience. So JD Vance was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2022. Okay? He was sworn in January 3rd of 2023. He ain't been doing a job for 2 years yet. Okay? So, Ace, if Trump is elected, how will Vance's lack of experience impact Trump's administration?
Oh, man. It's just hard for me to trust a guy that is younger than The Simpsons. Or, grew up on SpongeBob SquarePants and shit, for real. Watched Ed, and Eddie. I'm saying? Just, I mean, he's the VP, so, we'll put it in perspective. Like, Trump's not going to listen to the VP anyway, so it ain't like he's just going to make like hardcore policy decisions. It's just, once again a play from the Republicans. Hey, we're talking about old, let's go get young. You know what I'm saying? That's part of what I think this thing is with him. Well, like you said, he flip flops. We don't know where he is. One minute he didn't like Trump, and he was what's called a never Trumper or whatever. Mm-hmm. They made up a word for the dude. Now all of a sudden, he's a VP. So that's we're probably gonna get in that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But yeah, his lack of experience. Let's break it down. He has no foreign policy experience. He has no policy building experience. I don't think he's written any bills or anything that we can back him up, or he's maybe been part of them. I don't know. I have to do my research on that. So I just don't think he's going to be. I think it's for show. His pick. He's not going to bring anything to the policy. But once again, 2025, we're going to give everything to Trump anyway. So. Mm-hmm. So where's he gonna fit into that? I don't know. So I don't. His experience isn't gonna play a part in it at all.
Just to let you know, he has been part of some bills out there. So he's on some committees as well. So I just don't think that his experience is going to help us. It's kind of like we think back about Trump. And as I watched like the Republican National Convention, I hear people talk about how he's the greatest president that we've ever had and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, he ain't done shit that impacted me personally. Not a damn thing. So how is he so fucking great? And guess what? He had no political experience. And that's where JD Vance is. No political experience whatsoever. And at the end of the day, that's dangerous as far as I'm concerned. Their opponents have more, probably 20 times as much experience as JD Vance, and probably 3 times as much as him and Trump put together, or maybe more.
Well, even guys in his party, have more than that. But and what I meant by that, that's why I said I wasn't sure. I was pretty sure he co-authored some bills and did some things like that. I mean, he's in the Congress. I just don't know anything significant that he's done.
No.
That's basically what I'm kind of getting at with it. And you're absolutely right, man. Trump had no experience. And I've always said, you don't want a guy working at, the convenience store that ain't got no experience. Why would you want him being a president and a vice president? But once again, I think the Republican Party's all for show. They're just trying to get votes, and they're just trying to get the position and get into power. They don't really care that they have people that know what they're doing, to actually care about passing policy that's going to do anything good for people. And JD Vance is just the newest example of what that is. You know what I'm saying? Just a showpiece that's going to be out there that's going to look the part but ain't going to do anything.
Yeah, that's like my wife, who don't like going to the dentist at all. Going to a dentist that ain't never touched a tooth. You his first tooth. You the first tooth this nigga done touched. Do you want that shit?
Going to UTSA, the dentistry school, and getting your
wrong place to go.
You don't want that life, bro. You know, hey,
You know what I'm saying?
dentistry school ain't the place you want somebody trying out on. You know,
But you the student's first tooth, nigga.
First tooth,
No, thank you, bro.
Same thing for cosmetology. You know, you go to the cosmetology school to get your hair done. Well, guess what?
Yeah, this your first head. Right
That's
here.
right.
Your first head, nigga. That's what he. Nah.
that's why it's
nigga.
$5.
So, but you know, one of the critical pieces about this is that think about how non-essential he is for examining the impact on education, health, the environment, criminal justice, and also faith. Think about the impact that JD, what his name is again?
Vance.
Vance. And also, guys, he's had numerous names throughout his life as well. You know, I just think that it's critical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, another thing that's critical is your taxes. So I hate paying fucking taxes every year. But guess what? That's another reason that we should fear this guy is because he's all about corporate tax cuts.
Yeah.
So while Vance says that he would have voted for the Trump tax cuts if he was in Congress at that time, he has a memoir out there called Hillbilly Elegy, which chronicles his upbringing in Ohio and Kentucky. And basically it makes him seem like he's this working class dude. And he was a Marine too, so he connects to the military. But those things are kind of like, you know, conflicting with one another. You supporting tax cuts, but you a working man. Okay, wouldn't you want the working people's taxes to be cut? But that's neither here nor there. Ace, is Vance a man of the people or is he a man of big business?
He's a Republican, you know, and the Republican Party's confused. You got these guys, and I always tell them, Trump's not your guy. Republicans aren't your guy. They go for corporate taxes. They go for the CEOs and making sure those guys are good. And the 1%, Vance falls right into place of that. He tries to talk like he's a working guy. End of the day, in the story, his voting record, which is going to be influenced by Trump, which is going to be influenced by Mitch McConnell and all those higher end Republicans, votes for corporate taxes and stuff like that. Called trickle down economics. Look at that. They tried to do this in the Reagan era. That's how long they've been trying to do this. It hasn't worked. You know what I'm saying? Hasn't. Every major economic problem you have, let's take it back to the Bushes in 2006 and 7 when they crashed the economy, came from trickle down economics. Doesn't work. We're going to give the corporate people tax cuts, the higher end people tax cuts. And what do they take with that money? They put it up somewhere. They don't even share with the economy anywhere. So they put that money up. It's called the rich getting richer. You know what I'm saying? And what happens to us down here, we're the ones that have to foot the bill and pay everything. So it's just that basic thing. So to answer your question directly, no, he's not for the working class. But I don't think that it's coming from his upbringing. It's coming from the fact that he's in the party that's not going to allow him to do that. He's talking the talk, but he's not walking the walk.
Well, you know, and not to challenge any of my white counterparts that are out there in the audience listening, that I have great relationships with. You know, I have always have a firm belief that racism is inherently amongst white communities. So you could be one of my friends on this platform and in the audience, and you can tell me that you're not racial, and you may not be, but you were raised in an inherently racial environment. You may have seen your mother and your father and your grandmother and your grandfather talk bad about black folk, but thank God you're at the right place.
Right.
Just thank God that you're at the right place. To my white counterparts that are listening, that I dearly love.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Systematic racism is real, but yeah, and he's kind of in a systematic Republican Party. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, it ain't the reason Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and all the high end, Bezos, these guys are behind Trump. You know what I'm saying? You know, and they're not being political at all. They got enough money to be effective, but they know for the simple fact that he's going to do things that make their corporations money and cut taxes and put more money in their pocket, which once again, they're not going to put back into the economic system and make us prosperous. They're going to put that money up and keep it. That's what they do with profits.
Think about this. Elon Musk just announced a few days ago that he's going to donate $45 million a month to Trump's campaign.
Yeah.
$45 million a month. Not a year, not every 4 years, a month.
Mm-hmm.
What's the return on the investment from that? To your point,
Deregulation.
what's the tax cuts, deregulation, all type of shit? He ain't giving this fool $45 million a month for nothing in return.
No, he's just helping him, helping him have thoughts about taking the military and putting him in the streets for crime.
Mm-hmm.
He's just paying the $45 million to get the ships and put them on our main streets for all us black folks to get on.
Mm-hmm.
It is evident, again, guys, with Project 2025. I had a great conversation with a white counterpart on yesterday, and he tried to influence me to insist on understanding that Trump's not involved with Project 2025, and that look at the Agenda 47. Man, get the hell away from me.
Side by side comparison.
Get the hell away from me. Side by side, those are both criminals.
Yep.
And they have 54 convicted.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to start telling some of my white counterparts. I like that word that you're using. Hey, Trump ain't involved with 2025 just like OJ wasn't involved with killing Nicole Simpson.
He wasn't. I don't care what nobody say. He was found not guilty.
No, yeah.
I hate when y'all say that shit.
No,
Guilty.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though.
You agree? Okay.
No,
good.
but I hear what you're saying. But hear what I'm saying.
If it don't fit, force it.
You
that's
tell
what's up.
you tell some of my white counterparts that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll connect to them.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. That's the way we look at Trump in 2025. Like, dude, everybody that worked on that shit used to work for him.
Yeah.
The Heritage Foundation been endorsing him.
Yeah.
But he don't know nothing about it. Well, here's my question today. If he don't know nothing about it, well, shit. He got a memory like Biden then. He
Exactly. He don't know who David Duke is. He don't know who the Proud
Since
Boys
we on the dementia show,
he
he might have dementia. If he don't know nothing about 2025.
Well, one thing they'll find out who the Black Panthers are.
Oh, they gonna find out.
And the guy that was on the at the convention, the Hulk guy that was pulling his shirt and all the rest of this stuff. Yes, it's like, okay, you're telling us that you're going to the Capitol again.
Basically,
that's what you're telling us. And if you're not telling me that, then you're telling me that you're going to our black communities.
Yeah,
because your disposition and your demeanor on that stage had everything to plant racism.
Yeah, yeah.
We know the story behind Hulk Hogan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I know he wanted to plant racism, but I want you to plant your finger on that like button. Okay? So, make sure if you like this content to click on the like button and also subscribe to Left Wing Kingz to see more of our content and share it on all your social media platforms. Now, let's see. The reason that we should fear JD Vance, the third reason we should fear him, is a love and hate relationship with Donald Trump. So initially, Vance was a never Trumper, a never Trump conservative who referred to Trump as noxious and America's Hitler. He has since aligned himself with the populist-nationalist wing of the GOP. Ace, how should we view this extreme political shift?
It should be a warning sign on where this guy stands. It makes me think that he's just honestly in it for, he's in it for himself. He stood strong on not being a never Trumper. America's Hitler, that was strong stuff to say.
That's some strong shit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even though, hey, once again, I tell people all the time, go look at Hitler in the 30s. See how he took over Germany. It's the same playbook that Trump's using. Yeah. But I ain't calling him America's Hitler. I've reverted very closely to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this dude went out and said the words, and so I believe there was a time that he believed that, but I also believe there's a time somebody got in his ear and said you could be the next vice president, and so then he flipped completely to do that. Why? He did that because being in that position, the prestige from it. Because if you become a vice president, then more likely next time they're gonna already assume you're gonna be running for the presidency. So he's doing whatever it takes to get over there. So that already makes me not trust him. So I already know when he's in there for himself. He's not in there for the people.
Especially at 39 years old. He has the ability to be the next president.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it's like, hey, it's null and void. I mean, you put this guy in and it's over.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We ain't gotta worry about that.
The funny thing is, him and Trump are like mirror images of one another in many ways, because Trump will say something and then he finds out that it's not good, so he'll just change his stance all of a sudden. Like he talked about abortion. When it first came out, he was all behind like, hey, no exceptions and the 15-week rule and all this other shit. As soon as he started seeing what America and the women were saying, he backed away from that. Well, there has to be some type of exceptions for rape and molestation and Where was you? You didn't say that at first, but you're changing. You're changing to fit the narrative of the voters so that you can win. And JD Vance, to me, he does kind of like the same thing. He's like, oh, well, at first, you know what? He's a bad guy. He's horrible. Then the rest of the party likes him. He's like, oh, now I like him too. So they're kind of like mirror images of one. I think that's what attracted Trump to him, is that this fool will just change some shit. He'll change his stance in a heartbeat if I tell him to.
Yeah. Shoot. Trump was a diehard blue Democrat. You know what I'm saying? Went on air and said, if I ever run for president, I'm going to run Republican because they're the dumbest people out there. He went on the Phil Donahue show and did that in the 80s.
And then he did what he said he was going to do.
He did what he said he's going to do. So, so we all know Trump said, he says what the people want to hear. But we all know he has a hidden agenda on what he's trying to do. So that's nothing new.
Well, something else that's not new is how these fools be treating women. And that's fear number 4. And that's suppressing women's rights. So in 2022, Vance declared himself 100% pro-life. And when asked about exceptions for rape and incest, he was like, hell no. Okay? So this is what he told the Washington Post in 2021. So what he said was, 2 wrongs don't make a right.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
Okay? Since then, he has shifted his public stance. This motherfucking has shifted on his issue. And amid speculation that he was going to become Trump's VP pick. So, of course, he shifted his stance to match what Trump was saying. So, Ace, how can we believe anything that comes out this dude's mouth?
Man. We can't. Especially if you're a woman, you can't. You know what I'm saying? He's not looking out for you guys at all. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but that's a lot about the Republican Party. And when you talk about the white Christian nationals and, the anti-abortion, they're not the anti-abortion, but the abortion movement, the anti-abortion movement, those people, these politicians on the Republican side are going to go where they think the polls or the voting is going to go. We know damn well Donald Trump don't care nothing about no abortion.
No.
He probably got about 50 abortions his damn self. You know what I'm saying?
Probably.
So he's not on the strong stance, but he's going to go out there and say the things that he needs to do to win the base. So then he's going to turn around and he's going to segue in the middle. Hey, you know what? I'm going to just push it to the states. So he's going to try to stay in the middle. So it's not actually saying that he's supporting it, but we know for a fact when he gets in front of white Christian nationals, he's going to talk about the 18-week ban or whatever the case may be. If he's down there with DeSantis, he's going to talk about that. So putting that into perspective, JD Vance is the same way, man. He's just going to follow wherever the party's going to take him, pretty much.
I just think that from a perspective of women's rights overall, that we're at a sad place, man. And I'm not going to blame this on parties. I'm just going to blame this on America's view of how we treat women overall. We've talked several times, and this is kind of shifting topics, but we've talked several times about how when a woman brings up the fact that, like Anita Hill, that she was raped or treated wrong, we look, oh, she's lying. She's trying to get money. What's her name with P. Diddy?
Yeah.
The one that got beat up at the elevator.
Cassie or whatever.
Cassie.
We just did that one. I was going to say.
That she got beat up and she was just claiming, everybody jumped on Diddy's side and said, we don't believe her. We always.
Till that video came out.
Right. We always go against women, whether it's for women's rights, whether it's. They weren't even allowed to vote. Okay? They were not allowed to vote at some point. So when I say that this is an American problem, it is an American problem. It still exists. And we need to really understand that, because when we talk about racism and America being inherently racist and being founded on racism and being founded on our backs as slaves, that is true. And so is the progression or lack thereof of women's rights. Okay. So they're still trying to hold on to their ways to make sure that women are on an unequal playing field and they're not getting the things that they deserve, and their rights are violated just like our rights are violated every day by things like Project 2025. This is just another way that they see to violate a woman's rights to do what she wants to do with her body.
I don't get, like, if somebody's rape or incest, why that just ain't a no-brainer? You know what I'm saying?
You gonna have that rape, baby.
Like incest?
It's
you gonna have that.
Well, I also goes to the census report.
This is Game of Thrones.
And I
They
think
having incest babies running around this bitch.
And I just
Goddamn dragon.
I think it's falling into population things because some people don't want to be a minority. They want to stay in the majority. So any baby counts. You know what I'm saying?
And
incest babies? Come on, man.
Yeah, and it's just an emotional thing thereafter. It's for the rest of that child's life, and for the rest of the mother's life.
I gotta look at this rape baby.
To go and get ice
Damn
cream,
rape
to go
baby.
and get ice cream with your child, and to know that your child is here because your next door neighbor raped you.
Or,
Exactly.
I got to call this fool Uncle Daddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You goddamn dunkle.
That's my Uncle Daddy right
That's
there.
my dunkle.
Yes.
No dunkle.
Absolutely.
Like, come on, man.
And we had a situation in my family where my aunt's oldest husband raped the youngest daughter. Okay. And we have a tendency of saying, hey, you know what? You're 14 years old and you were the problem because you went walking around this house in your shorts.
No, see, once again, blaming the woman.
You're the problem. You're blaming the woman. You're not blaming, what was he, 38? You're not blaming that 38-year-old man that did the rape.
Yeah.
Okay? But then this child is taken away from, so much shit.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you say. When are we going to give justice to the females? And hats off to the females. Hats off to the black females. Because I tell you, even with income now, hats off to our beautiful black women.
Yeah. It's everything. Glass ceiling, pay inequities. Like, we just hold them back from everything. Just trying our best to keep them down. Why?
That's right. And also too, and also too, let me clarify that. Hats off to our female women, period. Our females, because even in the white society, men like Trump think that they have control.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's why you hit on the head. Why? That's that control factor with them. You know what
Good
I'm saying?
point. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a control thing. But like I said, there's some no-brainers like rape and incest. Why are we even having that discussion? Like,
I don't know.
Come on, man. And and we got the technology. And my mom tell you about the horror stories when women getting abortions back in the 50s and 60s and using coat hangers and dying in back alleys and stuff like that, and getting these crazy ass dudes, doctors or whatever, in the back, or not even doctors,
Right.
to perform these. So we're going back to that. But once again, why?
Yeah.
And then people want to make it biblical. I don't think God would give us the technology. If he just, come on, it's all his anyway. He wouldn't do that.
Well, that's what they're saying about Project 2025.
Yeah.
That there's some spiritual, that there's some biblical reasons behind it. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That's like they said that about slavery, didn't they?
Yes.
They sure did.
So,
Yes.
yeah, the Heritage Foundation. Come on, that's the same dude that said if the left lets us do it, then there'll be no bloodshed. That's that guy. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're running into, and people just ignoring it, man. So hey, can say, you don't ignore it. You're gonna look up 2 years later, wondering how the hell I got the police knocking at my door, asking me questions I don't want to answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Well, we can't ignore that, man. And another thing we can't ignore is fear number 5, which is support for global democracy. So JD Vance feels that the United States should stop funding the Ukraine. He feels that European nations should do more to support NATO. And he feels that we should be preparing for a conflict with Asia. So, Ace, what are your thoughts on JD political global views?
when I read this, I was like, wow, this kid is just far away from, and the reason I say that, he's far away from World War II and really knowing that. And the reason I say that was because I think that anybody, and most of the World War II veterans and people around kind of died off, and know and understand the impact of Ukraine and understand the impact of what Russia's doing, and because we refer back to what happened in World War II. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it's just, it's almost like they forgot, you know what I'm saying? And I just think it's a generational thing a lot of times with them, never been around a situation where we were actually in war with people. Right. You know what I'm saying? Most of the people we have now, it was Vietnam. And we had that fight, and we saw it. I mean, yeah, we've had, like, Desert Storm and stuff like that, but a real war that we were, like, actually vested in as a country was, like, Vietnam. Before that, that was, like, World War II. And World War II, we understood the political impact and what we needed to do as a nation. So when they start talking about NATO and stuff, they don't understand the importance of it. They don't understand how important NATO was to keep this world the way it was, because Hitler actually tried to take care of the world and killed way more many people than they've ever seen in an actual war. You know what I'm saying? And I think that part of what JD Vance's knowledge comes from is that, him just not knowing and understanding the impact of it. He says a war with Asia. Well, let's be real. Even though we have issues with China and stuff and North Korea, they haven't invaded anybody.
Nope.
Putin has invaded people, and we know for a fact is planning on invading more people. That's the problem at stake right now.
Yeah.
And if you believe taking money from Ukraine and letting him take it over is going to win, you don't know your history, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just talked about Trump being an American Hitler. What do you think Putin is right now? You know what I'm saying? That Trump's warming up to. And I think a lot of that, because a lot of our people that really experienced World War II are dying off, and people don't have that interest in that history no more. That they forget, man, how bad things can really get real quick.
One thing I want to kind of touch on from what you said, because I agree, but I do want to add some perspective to it as well. So you're right. NATO was formed like out of World War II and what happened with Hitler and helping Reconstruction and like trying to prevent shit like that from happening again. Like we're going to band together and shit like that. But, and I know JD Vance doesn't have a understanding of that because that happened a long time ago, but he does understand. He as a Marine, he did go to Afghanistan. So he understands our political impacts that war could have, at least from a perspective of a Marine and being a soldier on the ground. So he does have that on his side. Now, that might even change his perspective to feeling like he felt like maybe the United States was over there trying to fight this, in Afghanistan. He felt like maybe we were on our own for the most part. Even though there were other countries there, they didn't have as much of a presence as the United States. So that might make him feel like they need to be in this game more because we fighting and using all our resources for shit. So I understand a little bit what he's saying, but I also understand what you're saying. He doesn't have that greater context to it. The other thing was the Asia thing. One thing I do think is that Asia is really building up their arsenal right now. Like I think like China has like the biggest navy in the world now, or North Korea is building up their nuclear weapons and all of that shit. They bold as fuck, just going out there in the damn sea close to shit that they shouldn't be close to, and you know what I'm saying? So I do think we need to have an eye on these motherfuckers, and if they have surpassed us in munitions and ships, it might be pretty important for us to start building some motherfucking more ships and stuff, if that's what he's saying. I don't really know extensively what his plan might be, but preparing for Asia could be things like getting our weapons right, getting our ships right, getting our equipment right. Like that shit, I would be like, yeah, these motherfuckers attack us right now. If it's a water fight, we losing.
I think you got to look at all of them. You got to look at Ukraine. You got to look at Iran. You got to look at Asia, North Korea, China, all of that.
Yeah.
Because as we're sitting here talking, and Turkey's and kind of sort of in that a little bit. As we're sitting around here talking about NATO, these guys are meeting, and they're
have
forming
powwows.
they're forming an
absolutely.
alliance. So
Coalition.
I think that a lot of times we try to divide up the food on our plate, but end of the day in the story, we might end up fighting all of them.
Yeah. Well, my point is this. I agree with you. But we got to get out of this being this reactive place. We react to every fucking thing.
Yeah.
And if JD Vance is saying, let's be proactive and get our shit ready, let's do that. Because if we were proactive about Russia, maybe the motherfuckers wouldn't have went and took their ass and jumped into Ukraine. But guess what? We were reactive. So now we afraid to even go over there. We want to give money to support it, which I think we should be giving them money, but I also think there's other efforts we should be giving money to as well. Like, we talked about Nigeria, we talked about other areas out
Sudan,
there. Sudan, like places that deserve money too. But at the end of the day, if we were proactive with this shit, we could have prevented it. And that's what being proactive usually helps you do. Like, I brush my motherfucking teeth, I floss, I do all this shit because I don't want my fucking teeth to fall out. That is proactive action. I'm not going to wait till my teeth fall out and then say, well, denture time. I'm going to try to fight that shit off as long as I can.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? By being proactive. And we're not being, it's simple things that we don't do that kind of make me look and say, hey, JD Vance might be right about this. Now, I'm not a JD Vance fan, but I would like to adopt that from a democratic standpoint. How can we adopt that and be more proactive with shit rather than saying, hey, we got to give all this money to Ukraine? Think about our flaws, fix them, be proactive, and then we don't have to give money to Ukraine. If we would have did the right shit first.
Yeah, and first, we have to sit down and work together.
Yeah.
That's the first part.
True.
And that's the major part of the dynamics. We should have been prepared for COVID.
Yeah.
We knew years ago about a drastic epidemic that was coming into this country.
Mm-hmm. Obama wrote a playbook on it, didn't he?
Obama wrote playbook, white paper on it. It was ignored. When Trump got in office, he took the resources away to further research. Then he recommended folks to drink bleach once we got it.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Well, I like how we don't talk about that, though. When it comes to him. Like, he took, Obama had a playbook for COVID already set up, and he ignored it, threw it out everything else. But then when COVID hit, oh, man, that ain't my fault. Like, get out of here.
And the resources, yes.
Yeah. But back to kind of what you're saying. It's funny because I've been looking recently at this documentary on Netflix called Turning Point. And it talks about how we kind of made a mistake when we said in the 80s we ended the Cold War. And the Cold War still been going on. That's how we got to Ukraine.
Yep.
And a lot of people right now, they'll blame, hey, man, and they'll say this, well, man, there was no wars when Trump was around. Biden just, he walked into Ukraine with Biden. But you got to understand, he actually attacked Ukraine in 2014 under Obama.
Yep.
But he was already having issues with George Bush when he was going into that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So this whole time since Reagan, they opened the Berlin Wall and supposedly ended the Cold War. It's just still been going on. It's just been more covert right now. It's a whole documentary on it, man. So it's exciting. So it's crazy, man. So once again, we got to work together and do that. But you're also right. We can't ignore dispense funding and just be out. This world's too crazy right now. Like, as you say, Asia's getting stronger. Russia's definitely getting stronger. Iran is backing Hamas and all that happening in Israel. Dude, I've always been saying this. This ain't happening on no accident.
Nope.
It's the turmoil that's happening in the United States, and it ain't because Biden became president. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and right now, as it exists today, right now, this week, China is spending billions of dollars on artificial intelligence, on AI. Over the past month, we have seen a drastic change with everything interfacing with AI.
Yeah.
And most of the folks that I talk to that are close to me, I don't believe in it. I don't want to get to it. That is not 90% accurate. Well, guess what?
It's the future.
It's the future. Get with it, because China is spending billions of dollars on a facility and the technology that will outweigh the entire world.
Yeah.
And just since we're on a technical term, real quick, you can't tell me nothing, man. The attack that happened over the weekend at Microsoft, that was an attack. They can tell me what they want.
Look, you conspiracy theorist, nigga.
You don't think that was an attack? That was an attack, man.
That was no damn attack, man.
All the airports went down at the same time.
I got up and heard it on the news, and I said the same thing. And they're like, "Oh, it's the first time it happened." Yeah, because we gave whoever
So
that business entity, we gave them everything to shut everything down.
You the technical guy.
I'm the technical guy, and I can tell you this seemed like to me that it was exactly what the fuck they said it was. First and foremost, the CEO of their company went on TV and he said, "This was me. This was our company, and here's what we didn't do. We didn't do our due diligence. We didn't do our pilot, right? Of any time there's a patch that comes out that they need to do, they do a pilot and they do testing to make sure that it's going to work before they send it out. Well, their compliance kind of broke down, and they sent it out there, and it was faulty, and it fucked up some shit. First and foremost, if you're a company, you gonna take the motherfucking fall for a global technology issue. This shit happened to Amazon, airports, security companies, 911. This shit impacted like a whole shitload of people. And I do know that corporations do like anybody else does. Everybody else starts watching Netflix. Everybody else watches Netflix. So everybody gets Netflix because everybody got it. Well, if there's a software that's working for your security and a big company like Microsoft is using it, or these other companies, then everybody starts to use the same company. That's creating Salesforce. That creates a bottleneck. If that fucking vendor falls or fucks up or just shuts down their door, or somebody does attack that vendor, it fucks up everybody else. So to me, that's what happened. I believe it. I believe what they're saying. But now what they're trying to do that I don't like is give them kind of like immunity from being sued. Because everybody should sue the fuck out of this motherfucker for doing what he did and fucked up all of their companies. And if that happens, then I will tell you right now, it was not an attack. It was that motherfucking company. So they're gonna sue his ass. It's a wrap.
That's right. Yeah. I have been in software development. I've been in system testing. Been in project management, network development. Why is this the first time that it happened?
That's a good question.
I have been in those four technical environments, have worked for Microsoft in Seattle. Why is it at this time that's been a problem?
That's a good
system testing, quality testing.
That's normal shit.
Network.
That's not something that you should forget.
Debugging.
All of that.
Relationship management. Iterative development.
Yep.
I can go on and on and on and on. Something happened where they were conducting a test to destroy what? The world.
Another conspiracy theory, but I can see that.
but think about it. I was looking at the TV yesterday and I said, healthcare, you can't go to the doctor. Everybody in there that's on machines die. Banking, I can't go get my damn money because the ATMs are not working.
Movie that just came out with
transportation.
Transportation.
Yeah,
everything. What's that Netflix movie that just came out? The black family, they went like they let somebody stay in their house as an Airbnb. So a white family came there, and then the black family comes back like, we need to be in our damn house. That's what happened with that movie. There was like this thing that just fucked up the whole world. Technology was just fucked up.
I don't believe in conspiracies, but I have enough skills and knowledge in the system development and quality testing and system testing arena to know that with iterative development, you never, ever should make a global mistake like that.
Well, I would say this. I would argue that point to this. My company that I work for, I work in IT in my company. And when we fuck up something, it's contained. And we've had fuck ups. Okay?
Roll back. Roll back then.
Right, exactly. But what I'm saying is, we know all the things that you just said. We know all the things we need to do. We know the simple, but human error happens. People make mistakes. And the next thing you know, our website's fucked up. Or our app has this page on the app don't work or whatever. We roll back, we fix it, and we move on. But my point is this. human error can happen. The problem was this one company supported thousands of companies. That's the problem. There should not be one company with that much power that if they fuck up thousands of companies. If we fuck up in my IT department, we fuck up my company. And that's it. That's all we fuck up.
Well, guess what?
That's the problem. They were all working with a vendor, like you said, like Salesforce or whatever, or Amazon, whatever that vendor is. And the vendor fucked up, and they have so many people relying on them that it ended up being a global issue. But
we didn't have that issue for Y2K.
yeah,
Y2K was 95% smooth.
yeah.
Now, currently, as today, when we get to product 2025, we got one man that can push the nuclear button.